Donald Trump, the former president, received a brutal reality check during his recent rally in Reading, Pennsylvania. Despite holding the event in an arena capable of seating 7,200 attendees, the empty seats, particularly in the back section, told a humiliating story. While Trump attempted to gaslight his supporters by falsely claiming that there were no empty seats, it became clear that his once massive crowds are thinning out. This stark contrast in enthusiasm underscores how the political landscape may be shifting against him. While Democratic leaders, such as Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz, are working tirelessly to connect with voters. In this video, we'll break down the key moments from Trump's Reading rally, the current state of the Democratic campaign, and the impact of Trump's dwindling support. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to reaching 1,000 subscribers, but we can't do it without you. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe right now. And if you're already subscribed, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment to let me know your thoughts. All right, let's dive right into it. 1. Trump's empty arena, a symbol of declining support. As Donald Trump took the stage in Reading, Pennsylvania, it became evident that the energy wasn't what it used to be. Photos shared by Dana Milbank, a contributor to the Washington Post, showed a concerning number of empty seats. Trump, clearly aware of this, chose to outright lie to the audience, stating, "We never have an empty seat," despite the overwhelming evidence to the contrary. The rally had begun, and yet the back of the arena remained unfilled, even as Trump addressed the crowd. The camera angles couldn't hide the fact that hundreds of seats were left vacant. As if to make matters worse, people behind Trump began to leave during his speech, further emphasizing the dwindling enthusiasm for his message. Videos emerged of attendees walking out, appearing disinterested as Trump tried to rally his base with attacks on Democrats and his usual talking points. This public display of disinterest is especially damaging for a man who prides himself on drawing large crowds. Trump's obsession with crowd sizes is well known, but the visual evidence from Reading makes it clear that his star power is fading, at least in certain parts of the country. 2. Contrasting momentum. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz hitting the ground running. While Trump's rallies are losing steam, Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz are crisscrossing the country, energizing Democratic voters ahead of key elections. Harris, in particular, has been a powerhouse, working tirelessly alongside other Democratic leaders to mobilize voters in battleground states. Her campaign is marked by enthusiasm and engagement, a stark contrast to Trump's Reading event. Harris has made several key appearances, speaking passionately about the Biden administration's policies and their plans for the future. Her efforts in Pittsburgh alongside Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro highlighted her ability to connect with voters on a personal level, driving home the importance of the upcoming elections. Harris's campaign is resonating with voters, particularly in comparison to Trump's scattershot attacks and fading appeal. Governor Tim Walz, on the other hand, has been on the ground in states like Arizona, pushing for early voting and energizing voters at every stop. His appearance in Tucson showcased the energy within the Democratic Party as people danced, celebrated, and waited in long lines to cast their votes early. The enthusiasm surrounding early voting indicates that the Democratic base is motivated and prepared to put in the work for upcoming elections. 3. The gaslighting continues. Trump's claims versus reality. Trump's attempts to gaslight his supporters at the Reading rally were nothing new, but the situation quickly became pathetic as he denied the obvious reality of the empty seats. Claiming that his events are always packed to capacity, Trump's insistence on lying about crowd sizes only underscored how out of touch he has become with his base. The Washington Post's Dana Milbank and numerous reporters confirmed that the empty seats weren't sectioned off or reserved. They simply couldn't be filled. Even Trump supporters behind him couldn't pretend to be engaged. Video footage from the rally shows people leaving their seats, their faces void of enthusiasm. Right Side Broadcasting, a network known for its pro-Trump propaganda, even resorted to promoting a liquidation sale of Trump merchandise during the event, offering flags, hats, and tumblers at steep discounts. It seems that even Trump merch is losing its appeal, with items being sold for as little as 47 cents. 4. Barack Obama's swipe at Trump, crowd size obsession reignited. Adding to Trump's embarrassment, former President Barack Obama has taken the opportunity to hit the campaign trail for Vice President Kamala Harris. Obama's rally in Pittsburgh drew significant attention not only for his support of Harris, but for a well-timed jab at Trump's infamous obsession with crowd sizes. Reminiscent of Obama's speech at the Democratic National Convention, where he mocked Trump for his fixation on numbers, this moment resonated strongly with Democrats and underscored the differences between the two administrations. Obama's ability to command a room with authenticity and passion stands in sharp contrast to Trump's increasingly desperate tactics. The stark difference between the energy at Obama and Harris's events compared to Trump's reading rally couldn't be clearer. 5. Kamala Harris's rising popularity and policy proposals. As Trump's influence seems to be waning, Harris's momentum is steadily increasing. She has shifted from a negative -20 approval rating to a +2, raised a staggering $1 billion in just 3 months, and mobilized nearly 1 million volunteers on the ground. Harris's appeal is growing as she champions policies that resonate with everyday Americans, such as her proposal to provide home care for seniors under Medicare. This policy would not only benefit the elderly, but also help working families who are balancing caring for both their children and aging parents. Harris's hands-on approach to addressing crises like Hurricane Helen and Milton, coupled with her warnings against price gouging during these times, further cements her as a leader who cares about the well-being of all Americans. In comparison, Trump's focus seems increasingly insular, with more attention on defending his personal grievances than addressing the needs of the country. 6. Trump's misinformation machine, lies, conspiracies, and the Republican Party's dissent. Trump's rally wasn't just about dwindling crowds. It also showcased his continued reliance on misinformation. During his speech, Trump perpetuated falsehoods about fracking in Pennsylvania, claiming that Democrats would ban it within 24 hours if elected. This baseless fearmongering was met with little enthusiasm from the audience, many of whom were likely aware that no such policy exists. Even worse, Trump surrogates and media allies continue to spread disinformation, with figures like Marjorie Taylor Greene asserting bizarre claims, such as the federal government controlling the weather. These wild conspiracy theories have become commonplace within Trump's faction of the Republican Party, further alienating moderate voters who seek real solutions to their problems. As President Joe Biden pointed out in a recent speech, the lies coming from Trump's camp are un-American and damaging to the fabric of the nation. Biden's frustration was palpable as he condemned these falsehoods, calling on Republicans to stop spreading baseless claims that serve no purpose other than to sow division and fear. The reading rally was a microcosm of Donald Trump's current political trajectory, one that appears to be on a steady decline. The empty seats, the disinterested attendees, and the rampant misinformation all point to a campaign struggling to maintain relevance. In contrast, Democrats like Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are putting in the work, engaging voters, and presenting policies that address the real needs of the American people. As Trump's influence continues to wane, it's becoming clearer that his time in the spotlight may be coming to an end.